Hi people, it's Archivist here, hope you're doing well, and today I have yet another Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel video for you, where we're going to be taking a look at the best monsters in my Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon deck. Originally, I was going to be looking at the entire deck, that's the main deck and the extra deck, but I realised it was getting very subjective. It's like, is Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon the best because it's the key card in the deck, even though in its own right it's not the most powerful? Is Astral Kuriboh great because Astral Kuriboh is amazing if it's used as a material? So to try and simplify things, I actually moved things to just talk about the extra deck. So we're looking at the most powerful monsters in this extra deck. So I'm going to go through my top 5 and they will be in order. There is an element of subjectivity still, but I'm trying to go by what has been the most useful in the majority of scenarios. I'll explain the card. In the background, you're going to be seeing some general recent online games I've been playing with the deck, but the card I'm actually talking about will be visible on the right hand side. If you want to know a complete list of the cards I'm using in this deck, I think the best thing to do here will be, I'm just going to put it in the description, because it also means if there's any major changes I can edit it for you guys so you can see what's happening. So let's go into number 5. So first up we have Galaxy Eyes Full Armor Photon Dragon. Requires 3 level 8 monsters, or you can also XC summon it using a Galaxy Eyes Xyz monster you control as material, except for Galaxy Eyes Full Armor Photon Dragon, and generally speaking I will be XC summoning it using this effect, because 3 level 8 monsters, it's not impossible, but I do find especially in a single turn that's quite challenging to do in this deck. Once per turn you can target up to 2 equipped cards that are equipped to this card, attach them to this card as material, which I've never actually done in a duel, but if you needed to reload it because you've run out of material could be quite useful. But the reason it's on the list really is because once per turn you can detach 1 material from this card, then target 1 face-up card your opponent controls and destroy it. And the fact that a monster with 4000 attack can also do this is so valuable, and there's no restriction where if you do this it means you can't attack that turn. I do find a lot of cards that give you this ability then prevent you from attacking, so this is quite useful if you want to blow up an opponent's monster and then go directly for their life points, or of course if they've got a pesky spell card you need to get rid of. But you do have to keep in mind it is a face up card, so if your opponent has a trap card face down for example and you want to get rid of it, you can't do it with this one unfortunately, which is why we have the next card on the list. Galaxy Eyes Cipher Blade Dragon. Requires 3 level 9 monsters, but you can also XC summon this card by using a rank 8 Galaxy Eyes Xyz monster you control as material. You can transfer its materials to this card. It cannot be used as material for an XC summon itself though. Definitely here, without question, you're going to be XC summoning it the alternate way. I just don't have 3 level 9 monsters in this deck, so that is not an option, and that's quite a tricky thing to pull off. Once per turn you can detach 1 material from this card, then target 1 card on the field and destroy it. So the advantage over Full Armor Dragon is that it's anything, it can be face down, face up. So great if your opponent has that 1 trap card, and or it could be a face down spell card, but just for the sake of argument it's a card on the field. Maybe it's Mirror Force and you're like, I could go in for a massive attack but I've got my eye on that one right there. I think I want to get rid of it, and so that's when you bring out Cipher Blade Dragon to go and destroy that card. If this XC summon card you control is destroyed by a battle with an opponent's attacking monster, or destroyed by an opponent's card effect and sent to your graveyard, you can target 1 Galaxy Eye Cipher Dragon in your graveyard and special summon it. Which is why it's very useful to use a Galaxy Eye Cipher Dragon as material for this one, detach it for its effect, because then if this is destroyed at least you have a means of defending yourself afterwards. Next up we have number 38, Hope Harbinger Dragon Titanic Galaxy. What a name. This requires 2 level 8 monsters, so not especially hard to get out. Once per turn during either player's turn, when a spell card or effect is activated on the field, you can negate that effect, and if you do, attach that card to this card as Xyz material. This right here is the reason I love this. It's a really great going first card because it means that if your opponent sets up a spell card for their crazy combo, you can just steal it and use it for yourself as an Xyz material. Really can't overstate how this simple effect is so useful. When an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can detach 1 Xyz material from this card, change the attack target to this card and perform damage calculation. So a little bit situational, good if you have a weaker monster on the field, maybe it's left over from your XC summoning and you want to protect it. If a face-up Xyz monster you control is destroyed by a battle or card effect, you can target one face-up Xyz monster you control. It gains attack equal to one of those destroyed monsters' original attack. So useful if you're playing it alongside other Xyz monsters, even if they're weaker ones, it can still make a difference. Now moving on to number 107, Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Dragon. This requires just 2 level 8 monsters. Once per battle phase, at the start of your battle phase, you can detach one material from this card, negate the effects of all other face-up monsters currently on the field. Also, their attack and defense becomes their original attack and defense. This effect cannot be undervalued, right? The amount of duelists I go up against where they have a monster with an effect that can prevent them from being destroyed by a battle, or you destroy their card but then they destroy you. Some kind of really difficult monster effect that you just need to get rid of and then you'll be fine. The ability to just blast out like an EMP and negate everything else other than this card is proving to be so useful and not nearly as situational as I originally thought it would be. Also, a couple of times that original attack and defense effect is quite handy as well. Really good if there's a monster that truly does rely on bonus attack, and then if you bring it down it can be like minus 3000 or something really extreme like that. During the battle phase, if you activated this effect this turn, each time an opponent card effect resolves, this card gains 1000 attack until the end of the battle phase. Also, it can make a second attack during each battle phase this turn. So this is an interesting one because you have negated other monsters from making effects. So you're kind of relying on spell cards here, and also one that of course won't destroy Tachyon Dragon. But something that happened to me recently is I don't think my opponent realised I had negated his effects. So he then went to activate the effects, but they got negated. So he, I think unintentionally, gave my dragon 2000 extra attack, plus he got an ability to do a second attack on his monster. So you almost benefit from the fact that your opponent might not realise what's just happened here, because it's not immediately obvious. It's only when they go to activate the effects and then you get like the electrical buzz sound when it gets negated. It's like, oh, what's happened here? So this effect, I think, is more useful in a game like Master Duel than it would be in real life, where you would have to say out loud, I've negated all your monsters' effects, because they won't necessarily notice you've done it. So this, I don't think this is as good as the negate itself, but bizarrely it's proved to be quite powerful. If you've been watching any of my recent videos, this final pick won't come as any surprise. Number 62, Galaxy Eyes Prime Photon Dragon. Requires just 2 level 8 monsters to Xyz summon. If this card battles during the damage calculation, quick effect, you can detach one material from this card once per turn. This card gains attack equal to the combined ranks of all Xyz monsters currently on the field, times 200. So even if you just have this card on the field, that's still an extra 1600, bringing it to 5600, which is really high. So this is a powerhouse in its own right. But if there are other Xyz monsters on the field as well, well, that's just a nice bonus. This is, however, during the damage calculation only, so this isn't like a permanent effect. This is going in for that really powerful strike when you need it. If this card in its owner's control is destroyed by an opponent's card effect while it has Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon as a material, you can special summon this card during your second standby phase after activation and double its attack. This hasn't actually come up for me. I mean, I've been able to activate the effect to initiate it coming back, but it's never returned. Either I've lost the duel or I've won the duel before it's come back, but naturally there is value in this. You can stall waiting for it to come back. An 8000 attack is a great defensive wall against anything that might try and come through. Not a lot of monsters have that much, so it's only really, vulnerable to being destroyed by other means other than being destroyed by battle at that stage. Any battle damage this card inflicts to your opponent is halved unless it has Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon as a material. And this is very important to keep in mind, and why it's not as effective in something like a Blue Eyes deck, right? It can look quite appealing for a Blue Eyes deck because you're thinking, well, I have lots of level 8 monsters and I can easily Xyz some of them into Galaxy Eyes Prime Photon Dragon. However, you will be doing, even if it's a direct attack, just 2000 points of damage, right? Instead of 4000 if you have a Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon as a material. So it's a very important caveat to keep in mind, and I think it is arguably necessary though, because this is such a powerful card otherwise. So these were my top 5 favourite extra deck cards within my Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon deck. As always people, thanks very much for watching and see you next time.